Hey everyone, I'm Christine DeMeo.
And I am Rick Sanders, and welcome to Gigging Solo. Christine, what have you been up to?
Well, Rick, I've been up to a lot, honestly. Seeing how you're sitting right here in front of me.
I know.
In the good old state of Arkansas.
Which I learned today is called the natural state.
Yes.
Which I think is a pun, but you guys told me it's not.
No, totally not. We are the natural state. We're beautiful, okay? Beautiful people.
Yeah.
Beautiful space. Beautiful place.
It is very pretty. We got to see some of that natural beauty today, but I don't want to cut you off.
No, you know what? Actually, I loved it. Today, as you guys can see, Rick is in the studio with me. What a delight this is. And we have been hanging out all day today. Rick made me come to work. And after a full day of kayaking, I can't believe I'm here. But here we are. And you know what? I think it's been a minute since you've kayaked, right?
It has, yeah. No, I'm trying to think of the last time I kayaked. So I live on the coast, as I've mentioned to folks on the podcast, and so it's more ocean kayaking.
Yeah.
Which I think is harder.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean, it was actually really nice. I mean, we mentioned a couple episodes ago, I deal with different kinds of wrist pain and stuff like that. And like when I do like stand-up paddleboarding or kayaking, sometimes my wrists are give me trouble. But I didn't have that problem today at all. It was wonderful.
Good, yeah. Well, so for those of you that aren't familiar, here in Arkansas, we have, I think, it's the second cleanest lakes here in the United States because we used to be the first.
Yeah.
We have fallen from grace, Rick. But no, we took them to Crystal Springs. It's a Lake Ouachita. It's beautiful. And the water was just really calm, and we got to see all kinds of nature life out there, and it was just a beautiful day. We thought it was going to rain all day. So I'm very happy with my Rick Sanders experience so far, and I hope that you're enjoying yourself as well.
I'm just glad she doesn't want to kill me before it's time for me to go back. It's been wonderful.
It'd be too hard to replace.
I mean, people have talked to us about like our dynamic in this because we started. You actually, it was like 6 months ago, I think, reached out to me about, you ever done podcasting? And I'm like, no, why do you ask? So we started talking about doing this then, and we've known each other for a year and a half, something like that now. And whenever you meet someone, it's funny because we did an episode. This will be an episode after the last one, so people will know I'm here at least for the last episode. And we got here, there's always a question when you meet someone you've known online, even if you know them well.
Oh yeah,
and it's like, how's this going to go? Is this going to be awkward? Like, no, not even a little bit.
No, I feel like my best friend just came back to stay here, and hang out for a little bit.
Same. No, I mean, literally getting off a plane after a delayed flight here, and sadly, sorry for getting you guys up so late.
It's all good.
And I'm like, we're just like chatting, and like, oh yeah, it turns out it's really easy for us to just talk a lot.
I know. So. Christian was just like, so how's it been going? I was like, exactly how I thought it would go.
Yeah.
Easy, natural, comfortable. She's like, yeah, I think so too. And she's like, it's been good so far. And I'm like, yeah, of course. She's like, he can come back.
Well, that's cool. I'm glad to hear that. One of the things that's been kind of fun it's been true, I think, for our entire friendship is, we've talked about it, I think, in the I hate back referencing episodes all the time, but it is like a little reference and a little relevant to the conversation at this point is like we don't really have coworkers the way a lot of people do. I mean, you have more than I do because you play in bands. Hi Daniel. But you've got to have someone who you can really go deep on how does this stuff work? I mean, I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions about the details of your HX stomp settings after we're done today.
Oh yeah.
I would like to crib from your notes if it's okay. But it's just like, it's so nice to have someone who understands the nuance and the minutia of what it is. And actually in person, it says, jam on it or whatever. We're not probably going to have a chance to do any video involving me playing on Christine's rig, but I did get to do that, and it was actually pretty fun. And I brought my Akai MPX8, which you had a blast with. Yeah,
that thing is cool. And just to give people, I've been playing for a long time. I'm going to give you just this little heads up. I've been playing for a long time. I actually bought the Akai MPX8 probably 10 years ago, or maybe 8, but 10 is looking more realistic for me. Mm-hmm. And it wouldn't speak to my MacBook. I couldn't download new sounds. So I think that's why I ended up sending it back. But after hearing some of the sounds today, I was like, you know what? if I wanted to go for a more simplistic setup, I could totally use the Akai. I think it would work. So it kind of made the little fireworks in my brain go off. I was like, hey, you know what? I got some ideas for this. I might need to rebuy this piece of gear. And of course, Christian's like, didn't you already buy that once and return it? And I'm like, yes. And she goes, so why are we doing this again? And I was just like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, well, so it's funny. In just a second, I'm going to talk about how I had to rebuy one just a little while ago. But basically, because I now have the T5Z, and I can't like hit it. Like, I mean, I'm sorry to Maton if you're watching, but your guitars, they take a beating really well and they make really good percussive sounds. And so that's how I've been doing drums up until this, very recently. And now I was trying just tapping lightly in the strings. Is there anywhere in this guitar where I can make a drum sound? No, really not meaningfully. I'd have
not to your satisfaction.
No, I'd have to gain it so high. It'd be like crazy. If I played it, it would probably cause like window to break in the neighborhood. So I'm like, all right. So I'm just kind of like string slapping and then to set which you do a lot as well, to kind of set a rhythm. And then I'm using the Akai MPX8. And it's a stand-in for a probably more robust system right now, but it is really nice how small it is.
Yeah.
I'll put it on a screen or whatever. But I do want to talk a little bit about it. One more like misadventure with my poor. So I was at a venue, and I'm not going to call them out here because they've been fantastic and they helped make it right. But I was playing at a place with a overhang when I didn't realize the overhang was a place where people could actually like hang out and be. And so I thought it was just like the roof to the little stage.
Yeah.
But it was actually like a deck up there. And it's like, okay, that's kind of interesting. I figured it out. And I'm on a break and I hear a splash. Like I'm down from the stage and I hear a splash.
It's my worst nightmare.
And some kid, some malicious young person, I'm going to be nice. We're keeping it PG here. We're going to keep it maybe even rated G-ish. Decided to throw a cup of water, at least it was water, on my stuff. And I thought at first that he missed everything, but not by much. I mean, he nearly hit my power, what's it called? The extension cord, or not the
power strip?
Power strip, thank you.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, everything survived it. And then I look at my MPX8 and I'm like, oh no, because it's like it hit that directly. He actually hit it right on that. And I start trying to use it, and I'm like, oh, this button's not working at all. That's not good. So I was trying to like recollect myself, right? So the mother, presumably of the kid, comes by and is like, oh my God, I'm so sorry that happened. And is everything okay? And at that point, I didn't realize anything was broken. So I said, no, I think it'll be all right. Thanks for checking in or whatever. Appreciate your honesty, that kind of thing. Turns out that was dead. And so as I've mentioned before, I'm paranoid. So I have two of everything. I have a backup MPX8. I had it with me.
Wow.
It wasn't fully configured quite the same way. But the hardest thing, honestly, to repair, I mean, I had to buy another one. They're not that expensive, luckily.
Yeah, luckily.
Not sponsored by Akai, but hey.
If you want to.
You know where to find us. But it was relative. It did mean like the next day I had a gig and I had to like make sure I dialed in all the settings. And one bummer about it is you can't see the settings for one of the pads unless you compress it. So I couldn't even like press the pad to even see what the settings were because I was trying to copy the settings to another working one.
Yeah.
I mostly got it right. I probably improved it a bit. And then I've actually modified it since, again, because of the T5Z and needing to use it more. I'm like, I think my kick drum's a little bit much. I think I'm going to like dial that back and stuff like, just trying to like think about how bands sound. I'm still getting the hang of that. I mean, I'm a guitarist, but and obviously a musician, but I'm new to this stuff. So at any rate, bit of a bummer, but I will say the venue made it right. They actually threw in they didn't have to do this. They threw an extra $100 into what they gave me. So, and I now have 3 of them.
Wow. And here I am just trying to get one, Rick.
I know. Like I said, paranoid. But the paranoia paid. So now I'm never going to get better. Basically, that's how that works.
Yep, that's how it is. You're like, listen, I have like three to five of everything, and it really worked out this one time out of 50 gajillion, and I'm gonna keep on having all these things.
Oh man.
Hey, you know what? Whatever works for you, Rick. Whatever works. But you're a nicer soul than I am.
Yeah, you know, it was really funny because I'm thinking like, okay, I didn't lose my cool, but I'm like, I was kind of like, I was just so angry.
Oh man.
And trying again, like the gig wasn't over, so I had to keep going, and it was just very hard to find my mojo in that moment because I was just so like furious, honestly. But I did, and you know, I have a show there coming up, and you know, it's just one of those little life lessons. But now I'm like looking at like that area above me and going, because I'm going to play there again. Like, do I need to worry about that? Do I need to put an umbrella above me or something like that? And I'm like, I don't want to get that paranoid. I feel like that's probably like a particularly bad beat. You said nothing like that's ever happened to you.
Nothing, no.
So I'm going to assume it won't happen again. But
you know, I did have a kid just here recently at a gig. I just got through playing. I had my guitar on my stand.
Yep.
And all of a sudden I look to my left and this little kid is over at my guitar strumming the strings, and I go, absolutely not, no sir. And he was like, and I was like, you get out from away from that guitar. I mean, like just like a mom voice. I was like, no, you get over there, and I don't ever want to see you behind there touching that guitar again. And his mom's laughing, and I'm like thinking, woman, if he would have messed my guitar up, you wouldn't have been laughing about replacing it, you know. But yeah, I don't even play. I'm like, whose kids are these? Get these kids out of here. Like, be like, listen, you about to have your child on a milk carton if you don't get this kid out of here. I'm serious. I do not play around.
She's way more fierce in person, by the way. I have to say now that I've seen her.
I do tend to instill the fear into people, you know.
You know, it's a funny thing, or we'll get to our topic eventually. Don't worry, folks. You guys are here.
Don't you guys worry about it.
But one of the things, I've been on a whole journey around kids. Now, I myself have never had kids. Right. And never wanted them. You know, for a long period of time, didn't like them. Sorry, I've come around on that. It's a thing. Some people don't, right?
I get it.
Right? And like, you know, a relatively recent ex of mine has kids, and I got to know them. I'm like, all right. And also just changed my relationship to them. And and honestly, I'm grateful for that experience because I play in front of a lot of kids. You know, if I think, oh my God, there are rugrats everywhere here like that's not a good place to be. So like, you know, I bring stickers. I give stickers to kids and stuff like that. You've seen the stickers. Yeah. And so like I try really hard. I've trained myself to be extra patient around children. And then I realize I've overcorrected.
Oh man, you totally have, because like,
I need to figure that out.
I just don't. I don't got the time. I don't got the tolerance.
Yeah.
Get your kids before I snatch them up. That's all I have to say. Like, you better get your kid. But
you heard it here, folks. If you have small children and you're coming to Christine's gigs in Arkansas, be respectful.
Yes, please. You know what's funny though? I say all that, but little kids really do freaking love me. And actually, I was looking through some of my live streams and just kind of checking the sound and listening and things. And I noticed on almost, I think 3 or 4 of them in a row, a little kid would come up to me after, you know, I was getting ready to start a song, and they'd be like, you played this song, and you could see me leaning over to talk to them, and I'm like, hey, what's going on, buddy? You know, or a little kid walks up with $5, like, I wanted to give you this, you're my favorite, you know. And it's just funny, like little kids, honestly, they love me, but they have no idea that I will destroy them if they touch my gear, you know. I'm just like, I don't know. It's odd.
I have a very funny, because I've noticed that too. Like little kids, like they get sent on like scouting missions, go tip the musician.
Yeah.
And some of them really don't want to. And I'm like, I feel so bad for them. I'm like, sorry, kid. Appreciate you doing it.
I know.
And
me too.
I hit my little thing on the Akai MPX8, that little Mario sound, which I stole from Carl Wagner, but you know, is what it is.
Another reason why I need that thing.
You do. It's actually fun for that. I feel like it would be more useful to have an 8th actual drum sound, but
Watch, I'm going to buy the Akai MPX8, and I'm going to use my Octopad. And I'm going to have that just for fun sound effects.
That sounds joyous. Well, you know, I have the mini keyboard one that you can't set the actual, like, it's got also 8 pads, but you can't set them. And I was like, I don't know. I like the sounds I have on this the Akai MPX8. It's not a replacement because I can't add my custom sounds. So now it's like when I'm in my home studios, I've got like the two of them on top of each other. So I've got 16 little pads in the keyboard, and my mic stand looks just ridiculous. I haven't decided if that's what's going to happen or not. But
you're like, I may need to rethink this.
I might have to.
Yeah. Anyway, gosh, we've been jabbering on.
I mean, it's been so this is what happens when this has been like honestly the whole couple days.
Yeah.
But we will get on topic, and I'm going to introduce the topic today.
Please do.
So one of the things that I get asked a lot at shows is, how do you keep so many songs in your head? That's not like a flex or whatever. It's been nearly everyone I know, certainly Christine, knows more songs than I do. But like, especially if you take requests, people look at that list, you're like, really? And I actually have that reaction. Like when I look at Nullify's list or your list, I'm like, really? Like there's a lot there. And one of the things I want to talk about is how do you, there's a work that goes into being able to do that. And, I was actually talking to your other half today about this, actually. That you definitely need to put make a decision that you're going to do a request-based show and have enough songs to either, like you do sometimes, just do them on the fly completely, which means listening to a lot of music so you even know what the songs are.
Yeah.
I run into that all the time. I don't listen to enough music. It's on my to-do list to improve. But there's also just like, you've got a list of whatever, 100, 200, 300 songs, whatever it is, and you want to keep them in practice. So when someone requests a song, you don't go, oh, uh-oh. And I've had the uh-ohs a few times. Yeah, so it's not perfect science.
Right.
But basically, how does one nurture and maintain a good, healthy request queue, keep them in practice, and still have time to do like the fun things like learning new songs, which you do periodically need to do. So it's not just like it's not like doing like housework or whatever. It's an endless battle against the dirt, and the dirt will always win if left alone. It's more like you still do want to improve it and add to it, but you also want to make sure you're able to play the songs that you say you can play.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? Actually, I didn't even think about this until just now. As far as how do you keep track of all those songs? Truly, one of the points here is taking inventory, and I actually want to chime in on that point because I'm booked for a wedding in July, and I'm actually going to be playing that wedding with Daniel, and so I can play any song I want. I'm actually going to have him, and I'm also going to bring my Octopad just in case there's a song that he just absolutely does not know and I want to loop it. But what I did was the bride was like, hey, can you send me over a song list that you do so that if I can put your QR code on my table and people can request songs. And I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. But before I did, I was like, you know what? Give me a minute.
Yeah, you want to check that list to make sure you're comfortable with it. Yeah,
100%. I went over. That's what I did last night because Rick and I were hanging out, and I was like, "Hey, I need to look over this real quick." I looked over 500 songs, and I said there was probably about maybe 10 or 12 of them. I was just like, I do not know this song. I never remember it. Ever. But all those other ones, I glanced through, I was like, I can remember these on the fly.
See, I called it, by the way. I do about 170. Christine, 470. Christine's been doing this longer than I have.
This is a really long time. Yeah. I looked at that list and I was like, these are 12 that I don't care to remember, and I can't seem to remember them when I do get requested for them. Yeah. Or they're too complicated to do solo. And it's like one of those, like, perfect example, Return of the Mac. Great song.
I don't think I know that one.
Oh, are you kidding me? Return of the Mac. Oh my God. Oh, come on.
No, I'm sorry.
You're killing me.
Blank stare. Sorry. Wow. You can see it in real time here. Now we're like actually making eye contact.
God, it's a 90s song, but it's a great song.
I might know it if I heard the whole thing with music. Yeah.
There's a lot of call and response vocals, and it just doesn't sound right when you play it solo. Unless I wanted to play it to a track, which that borderlines the cheesy line for me.
Yeah. I think there's another future topic about like picking songs, when to add them, what to add. Because like one of my favorite songs, just whatever reason I like, Of Monsters and Men, Little Talks. Love that song. So it's a great song, but it's two voices. Yeah, I do it all the time. If I have a person who's going to sing the other part, then I do that. Yeah, but like solo, to me it loses the point of the song, which is a conversation.
Yeah, but I mean, like all that to say is that I mean, once again, for that wedding, I was just like, I want to make sure that all these songs I can deliver on the fly if I really, really need to.
Yeah.
So yeah, take an inventory of your list of songs that you feel you can do, I think is a top priority.
I agree. And also like you did, being willing to cut some as well. It's funny. Like this is about like maintaining a list, but it's like sometimes when you're gardening, you're maintaining a bush or something like that. You gotta prune it too.
Yeah, was it a bonsai tree?
Bonsai tree is a whole thing. Yeah, exactly. So that the idea that you're definitely trying to make sure that you are maintaining the right song list. And yeah, like I did this actually a big process I think in December, January, something like that. I was talking about it, and I will say that going through and actually just cutting some songs off that were dead wood, I'm like, all right, these are. There's like kind of I'll think of this a lot. It's not just spreadsheets. Sometimes it's graphs.
Wow.
Axes. So like there's the how hard it is axis, and there's a how popular it is axis. And if it's super hard and super unpopular, that's the wrong place to be because you're gonna have to make time for it. Mm-hmm. And you're not gonna get that time back. You're gonna you want things that are either gonna get naturally requested so that you kind of automatically stay in practice, or that are so easy you don't care.
Right. And that's the thing, because like you said, some songs are not worth the payoff, or you don't get any payoff from. I call those vanity songs. Yeah, it's like, okay, you can play this really cool song, but nobody ever requests that song, and nobody cares about it, and you're the only person who cares about it. So it's kind of like one of those things where it was not worth it. Now for me, it's so funny. I added the song Somebody's Baby to my set list, and it's by Jackson Browne.
Yep.
And when I first was learning it, it was giving me fits. I was like, why can I not make this flow? I couldn't seem to program my looper and get it to really flow. And then finally, after I think it was like the third day of trying, I had just like an epiphany. I was like, oh, wait a minute. If I do this and I do this, it'll really work. But at first, my first run through of it at a gig, I saw a glimmer of hope. And it was like, I played it and people were like, oh, okay. But then when I really, after that first gig that I played it at, when I saw the glimmer of hope of people being like, this is a cool song. I was like, okay, this could be a home run. I really need to dig in and get this solid. Yeah. And so, I put the work in, and now honestly, that song gets requested a lot from people that have seen me play. Like, hey, can you play that one Jackson Browne song that you do?
I mean, yeah. Sometimes you can just like make fetch happen. Do you know that reference?
Yes, yeah. I do. But sometimes, honestly, that is the exception, not the rule.
Yeah,
you know what I
definitely.
mean? Like I did put in a lot of effort for that song, and I was worried that I wouldn't get the return. Yep. But that fetch moment did happen. But as far as like. For example, I did put in some time to Linger by the Cranberries. Yep. But I knew, I was like, this one's going to hit, this one.
You just got to hit it. You got to figure out what it needs to sound like. Yep. And exactly.
I was like, this one will be worth my investment.
I mean, my recent song I think of is actually Zombie, honestly.
Oh, right on. Yeah.
And another song I learned, I think the same week because it was St. Patty's and it was Irish is I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For.
Oh, good song.
I still haven't found the right version of that song. It's kind of written on the tin at this point. I need to spend some time with it and get it dialed in.
It's funny that we're talking about this because I actually have two songs that I want to put on my looper as far as like program a patch. And one of them is Heads Carolina by Joe DiMessina.
I like that song. Yeah.
And then the other one is I'd like to put in a patch for Breakfast at Tiffany's now, the thing is, Heads Carolina, I feel like I can play that one the same way every time without a memory patch. But there are certain things that I want to trigger, like the verses and a chorus, the trigger at the same time, and I'll have to program a button to do that. So that is something that I would like because it'll just sound smoother than me going track 1, track 2, real fast to make them come in at similar times. And that's the same thing with Breakfast at Tiffany's. And also, though, I can't seem to remember how I play Breakfast at Tiffany's the same way every time. I've noticed I've played it a little differently every time as far as like getting the loop built.
Yeah, no, and actually, I'm going to use Breakfast at Tiffany's as a way to dovetail in another point. Actually.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think this is a point we do have our notes. So it might be visible on camera. I don't know. And our timer, we're doing our best. But one of the things, so this is a new setup for us,
Yes, it is.
But one of the things that you suggested when we were like talking about this is one way that you can kind of keep those songs in your head, and especially or learn them if you're still learning them, is just listen to them repeatedly.
Oh yeah,
and just kind of like let them bake in. The song I have to do this a lot with songs if I don't kind of get my head around the melody right away, like the vocal melody, then I'll listen to it a lot. And those songs end up sounding better than everything else because I'm doing that work there, and I should do it with more songs.
Oh yeah.
One thing about Breakfast at Tiffany's in particular is like I went through, I've arranged it. I'm on version 6 or 7 of the arrangement. I love my arrangement of that song. It's great. I'm like because it's grown with me. Yeah. It's one of my first songs I looped on an RC 300, and it's evolved in many ways. And now it's one of my showier tunes. Like I delete a loop and replace it in the middle of the thing. It's fun. But I listened to the original again, and I'm like, I do one solo in that song. Like as you hear it, there's like 4 in the original, and they're all the same. Yeah. And I'm like, I mean, I ultimately decided I kind of liked my version. It's the right length, it felt like. But I'm like, wow, it's really drifted from I just am not listening to the original song much.
Oh, I do that all the time. That happens to me too, where I'm like, oh man, my take on this is completely different than the original, which I think is fine as long as there's a recognizable like key part, like the melody or guitar part. A lot of times people, if you're looking for that, some people don't want that in their cover. Some people want to have their take on it, and that's cool too. But for me, and I think for what you do, we are kind of trying to do stuff that's recognizable and get our audience to kind of perk up whenever we play the song.
Yeah.
And listening to, that's a huge way of how I learn new music is I am listening to songs on the way to gigs. I'll just be honest with you, like sometimes I don't have time to run through stuff, and I play in a couple of different bands, and if I didn't have time to actually play through it, then I'm listening to the songs on the way to the gig. We're
gonna do a little math on the podcast right now.
Okay.
470 songs ish. 490 maybe.
Yeah.
5 minutes a song. 4 minutes a song, let's
maybe,
say.
If I play through it all the way.
So that's like, I don't know, not just shy of 2,000 minutes of music.
That's a lot.
So, there's a reason why you have to take these shortcuts. I mean, it's just, at a certain point, it's impractical. You can't be playing, you would do nothing but play the songs on a very long loop.
Oh, 100%, which actually brings me to another point as far as that goes. Like, yeah, we're listening to songs in the car, and that's a great way to get your brain wrapped around the actual structure and how the song goes.
Yep.
But also, like you said, if we did this every day, we would be playing or practicing every single day, and that's just not doable. For me, when it comes to, I play in a couple of different bands, and I usually know, well, not usually, I do know a week before, or like I have my gigs booked 3 or 4 months in advance. And usually the week before that gig, especially with a band, I am going over the set list that they've given me throughout the week, like 15 to 20 minutes a day.
Yep. And
I'm like, okay, today I'm going to run these 4 songs. Or today I'm going to run these 3 songs. Or if the set list isn't that big, honestly, if it's let's just say maybe I'm doing like an hour-long set, which happens sometimes.
Yep.
I'll just run all the songs. And but for me, a lot of times I'm doing anywhere from a minimum of 15 songs to 40 plus songs. So for me, I'm usually taking little bite size throughout the week and doing a refresher on these songs. So that way, when the weekend comes, I'm not just cold starting it,
Yeah, no, I must say it's almost like, it must almost feel, because like I don't do this as much as you do. I do it occasionally. I'll do a set list, especially if I'm playing like retirement communities.
Yeah.
I figure out what I'm going to play, and I just kind of run through everything once, to make sure I kind of know what's going on. But like, it's almost like a break, a vacation to have a set list. Because
sure.
Because our shows are usually requests, so it's like, well, It's going to be, the first song is going to be one of these 490 songs. I'll keep using your number. The second one's going to be another one of these 490 songs. The combinatorics says that is impossible to practice for. So we're just going to not do it. But when you have a set list, sorry, I'm a math major. I'm geeking out over numbers bad over here right now.
I can see that.
Yeah. But when you're actually like looking at one set of songs, it's like, oh, I can and should do my best with this. It's a luxury to be able to focus on that.
Yeah, for sure. And for me, that going back to one of your points as far, I think you mentioned memorizing chord progressions or lyrics to a song to take off some of that mental load.
Yeah.
I can't remember if we talked about that before.
Not exactly. So it's kind of like adjacent to that, like listening to songs on the, like in the car or whatever.
Yeah.
Like when I'm learning a new song, especially, I'll try to, especially if it's got a lot of words, like Shape of You is the one I go to. I've memorized that song, and that's weird to me because I'm not good at memorizing lyrics. It's got a lot of words, but it was so hard for me to learn it that I just ended up listening to it so many times that I ended up memorizing it. And so now when I play that song, I don't even think about what the lyrics are. And that's it's so much easier when you don't have to worry about it.
It is nice.
Whether it's the guitar chords or the vocals or whatever, you're only thinking about one, 2, 3, 4, depending on what you consider in terms of looping. But it's so much easier to just get into the flow and just enjoy the song.
Yeah, and like I said, in practicing some of these songs, I'm not a virtuoso. I've never been a virtuoso musician, but I know I'm a good musician, and I know when I practice, I feel more prepared for my gigs, and I can go in there and actually not just play, I can actually perform and like entertain,
Yep.
And for some of these bands that I play in, actually, really, truly, for both of them that I'm playing in right now, I need to be able to make eye contact with my audience, and I need to be able to like run around on stage and smile and do all the things that I do. And I can't do that if I'm just glued to my iPad or my phone, staring at lyrics. So running through your set list, whether it be for your solo gig or for a band, is, I think, a huge, thing that I would do, because it's just going to make your gig that weekend or that week or whatever so much easier to do. And like I said, doing it the week before, I can really honestly say this. I feel like I found my sweet spot as a musician. Practicing and going through some of these songs the week before the gig really makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just something I've figured out over time.
So, and one of the other ways you can help, especially if you have like a band practice and there's overlap with your own repertoire. Mm-hmm. And although I guess this could get you trouble, so you can push back on it, is like when you're at a gig and no one's paying attention. Right. We've talked about these gigs many times, right?
Yes.
Or even if they are, but they're like not participatory. They're just not taking requests. People are like politely clapping, whatever. That's a good time to either work on those songs that you are about to do in a band setting. Especially again, if it's not like too different an arrangement, you don't want to practice the thing that is different than the thing you're going to do. But say it's similar, or practice songs that you in that long list of songs that you don't do in a while. Pick a couple on the week. You know what? This week I'm going to play these 10.
Yeah,
somewhere.
That's a great idea, actually. The reason for me that I have to go over songs the week before with band gigs is because I'm not playing these songs the same way that I do as a soloist.
Yeah, you're not doing the looping and that kind of stuff.
Literally, I am playing these songs to a click track, and I mean, it's just a totally different experience than playing it as a solo artist. I mean, that's the whole reason why I like to go through things, is because I'm not playing them the same way. And so I need to be playing them to the tracks and the clicks and stuff like that
Absolutely.
We're playing them in as a band. Now, as far as though, when it comes to adding a new song to my set list, I don't know about you, but this is what I do. If I've crafted a new song on my looper and it's really fresh, that song stays in the rotation for gigs and gigs and gigs. I mean, probably it's in the rotation. I consider it part of the set list now, and it stays in there no matter what. Like, I don't care if I'm doing requests, I will work in that new song that I've spent time to craft, because I personally think of it as reps. I need the reps. I need to play it, because the more I'm going to play it, the more confirmed and concreted into my brain that it's going to be, and the better I'm going to play it, every time. Now, I mean, like, perfect example, Somebody's Baby for me was hard at first. I couldn't, it took me a minute to get all the mechanics going. And now that I've got it, that is a song I can play just smooth as butter. It's it's easy. It's muscle memory at this point.
Yeah. And that's a big part of it too. And it's funny, like, I think some people might be like cringing at the idea of practicing a song in front of an audience, but there is multiple kinds of practice, right? There's practicing a song to learn it, to learn the parts of it, to craft it, to practice the loop or whatever it is. But there's also like every time you're playing in front of an audience, you are practicing that skill as well. It can feel different under the lights. Now I think for both of us at this point, we've been doing this long enough that like that delta is less harrowing than it used to be. But I remember when I was starting out, like if I was practice a song and then it was time to play it in front of people, like it was a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
And so what I'm trying to do when I'm playing in those settings is just like relax myself. Also, I'm kind of learning when I forget a nuance of the loop or how to recover from certain errors or whatever it may be, and ultimately to make the thing feel better. And also like without being hard on yourself, to be kind of critical about the parts of it. Like maybe it sounded good in the studio, but you're like, this outro is too long, or I don't like how this feels. This effect is too prominent if you're changing, which effect you're playing or whatever. And I think that stuff could really come out in the repetition, and really ultimately, you're solidifying that muscle memory with a new song that way.
I don't know about you. I got a question for you. I hope I'm trying to put this in a way where it'll make sense. I will only do request if I can deliver at least on a C average. Does that make sense to you? Yes.
I've got myself in trouble by not having that hard line, but I think that's a good rule of thumb.
And it is, man. I've gotten myself in trouble.
One of the things that I will do sometimes actually in a live setting is if I know a song like broad strokes, chords and vocals, but I'm not feeling confident in the looping, some part of it. Like maybe there's a secondary guitar part I've forgotten how to play. Maybe there's a solo I don't know how to play. Bass line I've forgotten, whatever it is. I'm like, all right, we're going to do the simplified, cheap and cheerful version. Like if I think it's dipping into that C minus territory, then I'm going to like do a version that to me is a D plus version of it, because I spent the time making a good version, but will come across as a B or higher to the audience, because they don't know no one knows unless they see you a lot. They don't know what your aim is with an arrangement. They don't know like how cute you're trying to get with it. So you can kind of like, this is like a nice thing in the moment when you realize, oh shoot, here I am, I'm into the D part of my set list, and you don't want to like look a fool or something like that. Make sure you at least have that you have enough knowledge of the song to sing it in the right key with the right chords. And you can always just use drum loops and you loop your drums and off you go. And most people will be like, I have no idea. They'll clap. They'll appreciate it, especially if it's a request. That's they don't know that you just whiffed on like a solo. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just the thing. I think that as long as you can, the chords and the lyrics, there is that standard I internally have. I'm like, ooh, if I don't know the melody to this song well enough, there's just no way. I'm not going to try and fumble through it, which every now and then I'll make an exception, and every now and then it bites me in the butt.
Yeah, that's right. We are but human. Yeah. We're doing our best.
I'm like, I can do this, and I'm like, no, I couldn't do that. I knew I couldn't do that, and I did it anyway.
Yeah. I had that. Oh my God! Relatively recently, I did the Hotel California.
Oh, nice.
And I'm like, and I like doing it. But like that solo is an example, and we'll get to my next point. Based on this, it's just like I tried really hard to adapt I think the solo is iconic in the original song. I love the guitar solo in that song.
Yeah.
It's 2 guitar solos, I guess. And I tried to adapt it to the key that I sing it in and in acoustic guitar. So no bends, and everything's on weird strings, and like it was quite the musical growth moment for me to even like figure out how to play a recognizable parody or a version, I should say, of that. And then I get to the da 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 da. We're not going to get copyright struck over this. I'm not saying anymore. You guys know what I'm talking about. If you don't, listen to the song.
That's right.
I like that I can point to the camera now. But I knew that day. I'm like, I cannot remember how to play that last little descending arpeggiated bit. I'm like, it'll just come to me in the moment. It didn't come to me in the moment. And I'm like, oh, that was a rough ending. And it just felt so bad. And it's like, it's the worst thing about it was at the outro of the song. I'm like, shouldn't have done that. Should have quit well ahead, but
that brings me to a point of yours though.
Yeah.
Can I point out one of your points? That's why you take good notes.
You do take good notes.
Now, this is a Rick Sanders special because I'm just going to be really honest with you guys. I do not take notes. The notes that he showed me look like Egyptian, hieroglyphs. I mean, it just looks like gibberish to me.
This is my iPad here, by the way. I'm pointing at it, and it's got it here. And every time I show her the notes, she just shakes her head.
Yeah, I just got nothing good to say about it. There's too many notes.
You know what's really funny is specifically with the Hotel California is I started trying to like tab out some solos. I just won't. I'm like, I got to practice it because it's just too long to tab out. Otherwise, I have a document that is just full of the tab, and I'm A, not good enough at sight reading, and B, I don't want to be sight reading a solo in front of an audience. Right. So like I basically say, all right, what I do put in there is start on the 8th fret of the B. That's it. Good luck. That's basically that's the note on that one.
Good luck, Rick.
So which is why the note didn't save me in this particular case. But in general, what I do is my notes, and I'll put one on the screen on this poor little abused iPad. Is basically I get color coding. So like what I do is I do it all on one page, which is part of the horror that you have about it.
Yes, it's terrible. It's really, really awful. I just want everyone to know how terrible it is.
It's very efficient. I never touch the screen during a song, except to add other songs. Whatever. You threw me. So like I take that's fine. So I take the different sections, like the chorus is, and I have like usual like standards, like the app that I use, you can color code things. So like the chorus is in blue.
Okay.
The pre-chorus is usually yellow. The solo is usually green. The outro is usually pink. Just the way it works. So I want colors that are going to stand out in bright lighting settings. So I'm only using bright colors against the black background.
Right. And
so that on its own, just at a quick glance, I have the chords at the top for each section. I have the words. So it's pretty condensed already just because of that. And if the chorus is identical, then I just put, the first time I put the chorus, I put the chorus as written, and then I just write chorus. And so it is a lot of writing and planning, but it does mean that like, this has actually saved me recently. I've gotten a song request. I'm like, there you go. I'm ready to go. And I I had it, because I also do have a shorthand 1-line version of tab, which is literally like, for the guitarists in the audience, it was basically like the string and the numbers. And I just put the numbers in order until the string changes, and I put another string name. And so it's not like, because normally tablature, for those who have not played guitar, it's kind of like the guitar 6 strings. And so tablature has 6 lines, and you just see what fret you're playing on each line. And that's, if you're trying to make this fit on a screen, it's huge. So I try to make that fit. But these notes, honestly, this was the project in December, January. And there's a couple failure cases. I think Hotel California is a good example where it's not enough. And there's another part that fills that gap. But in general, I find it really helps when I like get a request for a song, like, wow, I haven't played this in 4 months, 5 months at all in any way. And so I at least can look and say, there's that. I give myself 30 seconds, mute the guitar, play a couple of things. All right, off we go. And it's, it can make literally that 30 seconds with the right kind of notes can make a C turn into a B.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I commend you by creating these monstrous notes that you have, because they're very elaborate. But I do not do that. I just count on my musician intuition, my musician soul to channel the song when the song is requested. And I would say 80 to 90% of the time, things really work out.
This is one of those cases, and I just want to praise Christine on camera for a second here. Like, there is because, we talk about, like, why doesn't anyone get this? This is easy. And it's like, nothing is easy and everything is easy. It depends on, like, how much time you put into it. And, there's a certain, and this is one of the things I try to do, be kind to myself. Because, I've been doing this for 3 years. You've been doing this for 15, 16.
Yeah.
But, like, I've been playing guitar, period, full stop, at all, for 16 years. You were starting to play, professionally when I picked up the guitar and said, this looks neat. So, like, there's an obvious, experience gap there. And that even if I was obsessively playing the guitar all the time, I would never, probably in the rest of my life, not be able to catch. And I think it's one of those things, Christine works exceptionally hard. We've been seeing that. I've seen it up close now, and I know where her consistency comes from. That number is a hard-earned 89%.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I mean, I do think at the end of the day, too, people, when you're playing music, like you said, don't be too hard on yourself, and just know your limits. Like, hey, know where you're at, and know there's room for growth, and just be okay with it. And like you said, not being hard on yourself is, I think, a huge plus. I've been doing this, like you said, a long time, and actually, I've been fired one time. I've been fired one time from a gig, and let me tell you, it didn't matter how much I prepared for that gig. They weren't gonna keep me because they were all on this level and I was right here. Mm-hmm. And this was actually when I lived out in California for a little bit. I was playing for they called themselves a country soul band. I know. I'll just be honest with you. It was craziness. It was something else. I'll be nice. But I used to play with them here in Arkansas, and I was the rhythm acoustic guitarist, and I was playing for them, and everything was fine. But then when I got to California, they changed the entire, all my parts. They're like, we want you to play completely different parts on the guitar. And so for months, I had practiced and played these parts, and then within a matter of a week, they changed all these parts on me and said, you have to have them learned by the weekend.
Yeah. So you were basically set up to fail.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that really, for a long time, really just, that hit me hard. I said, I'd never been fired from a gig. They were just like, hey, Christine, you did a good job, but you're just not really where we need you to be. And I took it so personally, and I just thought, oh my gosh, I suck. I was just, it really hurt me. But I stepped back from that situation and thought about how I was set up to fail.
Yeah.
And then I also thought about how, I was like, this is good room for me to grow. Like, that means that I still want to come up. I can still practice. And I actually got to where I was like, you know what? I'm okay with this. This was a learning experience. I still have room to practice and grow. And I'm not going to be too hard on myself. It's just, I think as musicians, we can take ourselves too seriously.
And we can beat ourselves up about our limits too.
About our limits, yeah.
Yeah, because and that's definitely something. I'm again being so much earlier in the journey, right? Like, one of the things that a large part of my journey musically has been just shooting for the moon. I mean, the first band I was ever in, I think I probably told the story on the podcast that they said, here's 36 songs, show up tomorrow. And I hadn't even heard 18 of them. It was and I was also playing the wrong instrument. I think I talked about this last episode. Right? Yeah. And it was there's no world where I passed that test.
Right.
And that's partially on me. I tried to aim punch above my weight class. And you get knocked down sometimes. And, a good thing came out of that because I was stubborn, I guess, and easy to work with. And that was what came out of that. I joined an Ozzy Osbourne band. Same thing. It's I don't know any of these songs. This is kind of difficult to sing. Mm-hmm. I've got 7 weeks. I guess I'm just in immersion mode. And so I jump in the water, and swimming is going to come second, right? And I think that's pretty natural for a lot of people who are trying to make a break. You go for it, whether or not you're ready for it. I think we talked about this on episode 3, or Guitar to the Gig. Was that 2 or 3?
I think it was 2.
Yeah, really early on. And and it's just kind of part of it. More recently, my friend Olivia Pucci, who we might be talking about in more depth in the podcast at some point.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
She I went and saw her in LA playing. She's a singer, and I was watching her guitarist playing, and so she's looking for an accompanist, and I'm like, and the guys who was playing was ridiculously better than me. It was his chord knowledge, his ability to kind of improvise and play jazz, and it's something. I'm like, it could be a 3-year project to just try to become the kind of guitarist that she's used to. And I'm like, and I said, no, I just gotta say, hey, I aspire to be that kind of guitarist. I'm not that guitarist, and I don't want to set either of us up for failure.
Yeah.
So I just said no. I mean, that was a hard no to say. I mean, and there might be a future version of us working together on songs that are a bit more average between my ability and what she plays. But yeah, letting yourself we've gone on a really interesting tangent here. Letting yourself be comfortable with like your limitations and you know, and saying, you know, if you don't hit every song in your long list of songs, let's bring it back, then that's okay sometimes, you know?
And that's kind of the point that I think that we were rabbit trailing with is that you can practice all you want, but if you're punching above your weight class and you're pushing for something that you're not ready for yet, you're gonna have a hard time and you're gonna be disappointed and you're not gonna be able to enjoy your musical journey. But if you're practicing things that are within your grasp, and you're actually, you know, being intentional about your time and how you're listening to music in the car and you know, refreshing your mind before the gig, then you're going to have a much more pleasant experience when you're out there gigging. And I just think that I think a lot of musicians might get overwhelmed when it comes to like talking about practice because they're reaching for the stars when they really should just be reaching for, you know, just like that apple that's in the tree more on the ground with them, you know, first.
Well, like we talked about, like I talked about this, the kind of the two frame, you know, the framework, the how popular is it and how hard is it? You know, if you throw a song away, that's not to say you can't bring it back later. I mean, because that whole like how hard is it is relative to where you are today, and you know how crazy you got with it. I've simplified a lot of things as well and said, you know what, this isn't the wrong quadrant, but there's multiple ways to you know, like. Let's say kettle that fish. I don't know. I'm all into metaphor hell at this point. But like, there's lots of ways to approach that problem. You can decide that you don't play it. You cut it from the list. You can also decide, you know what? A simplified version of this is actually probably where it needs to be. Yeah. You know, and that's okay.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. You know, like, again, you're, especially if you're a loop artist, you're probably ahead of the curve anyway as a soloist.
It's funny. Actually, I really, and I know this is a little off subject, but Sweet Child of Mine, I remember playing that guitar part. God, when I feel so old saying this. I remember playing it when I was in my 20s and thinking, I wish I was good enough to play this at a gig because I wasn't quite smooth at it yet. You know?
That intro part. Yeah, that's a good part. And I
just thought, man, I'll never be able to play this.
I can't play it yet.
Well, I really wanted to play it, and I just thought maybe one day. Yeah. And it sat on the shelf, and then as time has went by, you know, and I was playing, and all of a sudden, one day I was just like, and I was like, did I just play that without any, you know, mess ups? I have arrived.
Yeah. And you know, I think it's part of the journey too. Just appreciate those moments, you know, because it means you're growing. You've done something. Yeah, no, for me, one of the songs that I add into all my sets, because it's still pretty new to me, and also pretty hard, but I love it and it lands well, is Fireflies by Owl City.
Cool song, too.
It's such a fun song, and lets me play with the lo-fi. I mean, I like to play with the lo-fi effects to kind of give it that kind of electronic vibe. And it's a pretty tricky little finger pick. The way
it is. I tried to do it.
Yeah. So what I do is I do it every single show, because I wanted to get that good with it, right? Yeah. And that's some songs are, when they're not like, when you get it to like the 60%, 70% level and you stop playing it, it's just gone. It's a price. So you gotta,
you lost all progress,
right? So now I'm a pretty good 90% on this song now, and I did it with the RC 500 when I was visiting my mom.
Oh, right on.
And I was like, you know what? Kind of sounds pretty cool acoustically, actually. You know, and get that little.
That's great.
I'm sorry. I'm just like making a bunch of musical noises right now.
I tried to do it at a gig without really any practice, and I was like, ooh, I can't do it anymore.
This is one of those. Can you play that? I'll try it. And you're like, no.
I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to go to the studio and rehearse for a little bit on this one. But yeah, I mean, like I said, practice doesn't have to be a stressful thing as long as you're keeping in mind your limits and, you know, and your strengths and your weaknesses, and knowing where you can and where you have the time. Let's be real about that. Where you have the time to really make some improvements and what's worth your time investing in, you know.
Yeah. So I want to make one last little point. I want to make this one quick because I know we're coming to the end here. Is you know, one thing I like to do is I have a list of songs that I know that are, and it's not up to date as well as I'd like it to be. I like to periodically revisit it, but that I know are like hard for some reason. Maybe they're a really hard loop. You know, like I do some weird stuff on Zombie, for instance, with Cranberries. I love that song, and I want to give it the love, so I do. But like, I have a list of songs that's like, okay, today I'm going to go through the hard loop songs. the ones that are worth doing.
Nice.
Today I'm going to go through the hard guitar solo parts that I love doing bespoke guitar solos. I just think it's fun. I'm starting to get a little more comfortable improvising, but like, if I'm going to play them as is, like Amy by the Pure Prairie League, that's not a hard solo, but it's long.
Yeah.
And so just running through stuff like that. Take It Easy by the Eagles is like that. Hotel California is another one. So like sometimes I have a day where I'm just, what, for half an hour, I'm just going to go through every guitar solo I do.
Nice.
Or I'm going to go through, this weird transition or this loop build or like how this song ends or whatever. And I just have these parts. And I guess this is true when you're going through like your set list for, playing with a band. You don't necessarily have to play the song end to end. You can just play whatever is the hard parts are. Do you know the intro? Do you know the outro? Do you know the solo? Any interesting bridge transitions? Okay,
that's
cool.
what I do. Yeah. I'm usually just running. Usually a lot of times I'm running, I feel like a verse and a chorus just to make sure I'm like refreshed on a lot of it,
Yeah.
So you don't have to do the whole song.
I mean, a lot of my looping gets a little special sometimes. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Special.
And so
Interesting.
Sometimes, I mean, I've literally spent times where I'm spending most of the practice session on one foot, trying to like it's like a stop this loop, start that loop, change this effect, and like there's a certain rhythm to it, and I try to get that to that I kind of chord those movements. So I'm practicing just that same part over and over again. Delete it, start over. Delete it, start over. Delete it, and that's that's how you learn a new thing. But also that's not a bad idea to do if you're like, hey, I haven't done American Girl in a while. Let's get this. I can get this intro done in 15 seconds if I do it right. Let's give it some love.
Yeah, totally. And I like I said, I think that this is stuff that unfortunately us musicians can really beat ourselves up over if we don't think about truly like we all want to be here, but it's okay to be right here for right now.
I want to be above the ceiling. Sorry, just kidding.
You'll get there is what I'm trying to say.
If it's a height battle, I'm going to have an advantage.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, totally. Which is so, I'm just going to throw this out there. I thought Rick was a lot shorter than he is. And when he got here, I was like, he's huge.
well, I could say to be a little less huge, but yeah.
I was just like, God, he's tall, man. I don't know. It just really threw me, honestly.
But no, your point, which was being very eloquently stated before I made a silly joke about where your hand was positioned.
I'm done. I got no more points.
Folks, if you're listening to the podcast and have never seen us in video, I do want to say that this episode and the most recent one before, we are in the studio together. This is a rare treat for us. Hopefully,
Yes.
It's probably realistically going to be a rare treat. We hope it's not. We're going to do it again for sure.
Definitely.
We'll make it happen. But it's nice for us to actually be able to be in the studio and goof around a bit more. It's easier to, I don't know if the cadence sounds different to those listening, because we can actually talk. And there's no internet delay or anything like that.
I love that. It's actually really nice, but
yeah.
Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode and found it useful, even with all of our little rabbit trails that we went on. We still hope you enjoyed it.
This is a journey that we hope you have enjoyed taking with us and that you found something useful along the way. This one might be hard.
This one might be, but if you did really enjoy the episode, please, guys, don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe to the platform, the podcast platform of your choice. We do not care which one it is. It can be Spotify, it can be Apple, it can be RSS.com. We do not care. Just jump on there. Maybe leave us a review or something on the YouTube channel.
What? Do we want to, review on the podcast platforms? Do we have reviews on the podcast platforms?
I don't. We can, but I don't think we do yet.
Okay, we're gonna see if we're gonna make that happen, because it would be cool to if you do put the review, we might start reading those at the end of the episode.
Oh, we should.
We should. So we are also a little behind the scenes. We are currently in the process of figuring out what the next stage of the podcast is.
Yeah.
So it might be the next episode we record is with a live audience. We don't know exactly how that's going to go. We're going to experiment.
We're throwing stuff at the wall. We're seeing what sticks.
There's a whole podcast world out there, and it's not always in Arkansas. We're going to do our best to figure it out.
Definitely, but that's all I got for them, Rick. What about you?
I think that's all I got too. This has been such a delight. Honestly, this has been more fun than usual, just because I'm here. It's a nice place. I like this.
Thank you.
This studio is freaking amazing, guys. I mean, unbelievable.
I appreciate it. I do. I'm very grateful to have this space, and I'm grateful to all of you that tune in and support us in this fun little podcast journey and both of our musical journeys separately. It's the reason why I'm able to have a studio. So I'm appreciative all those folks out there.
Absolutely. I mean, both our individual live stream audiences and the folks who've been giving us really, great feedback as we're trying to build this thing. So we appreciate that very much.
Absolutely.
And with that, I think we'll say goodbye.
I think we will.
All right, everyone. You have a good one out there. We'll catch you in the next one. Take care.
All right. We'll see you guys later.